Babe, you was never recording. You never pressed the recording.
I thought I pressed it.
That's why I was like, not even caring.
Yeah, I just did the whole thing and it wasn't recording. But welcome back to the channel. You know, welcome back to another video.
Sorry, but I really thought you
And I really was like just going with the flow. But like I was saying, man, we're in a new setting. You know, we're kind of fixing up the office to have a little space to do some sit-down videos. Maybe some more podcasts later on. You know, stay tuned. We don't talk too much about that. But in today's video, I've got the wife with me. You know, she tends to spice things up on the channel. She brings in her little flavor, you know, her little heat. And she's got a ton of knowledge, man. So I feel like with this video that I'm bringing to y'all, it's definitely gonna be some added value to have us both in it. In this video, I decided to answer your comments. I chose a lot of the comments out of the comment section of the videos that you guys have been leaving that I haven't been really able to get to, and a lot of the repetitive comments as well. So hopefully this answers a lot of questions for a lot of people that's thinking about getting in the industry, people that are in the industry, and just trying to maneuver through this rough market that we're in right now. And just talk about a lot of stuff that a lot of people are not talking about. So without further ado, let's jump right into the video and let's get to these questions, y'all.
Let's
Stay
go.
tuned. All right, y'all, real quick, let's shout out Truck and Hustle, man. If you guys haven't checked out our interview on Truck or Hustle, go over to the video, learn a little bit more about us and how we started to where we're at now and what we do. So anyways, let's get right into
they put dope content.
Yeah, check them out. They got dope
elevate
content.
And create more innovation.
You're gonna learn so many
within your
different
company.
things about the industry, not just, you know, Hotshot. A lot of other things you can do. So Wifey is gonna, you know, do the honors of reading the questions, or we'll go back and forth. And yeah, you told me to send it to your phone, so. First question, what we got, babe?
Is the hotshot business worth getting into in today's market? I am wanting to do it.
Matt Johnson, 3297. And we'll both touch on it real quick because we don't really want this to be a crazy long video.
Because it could be.
It could be. This is my response. It is worth getting into, but it's not worth getting into for everyone. If that makes sense.
That's a great answer.
There's a lot that goes into what will allow you to be successful in any market. Any market you get into, if you're not working for someone else, you're gonna go through your times where it's up and down. How do you sustain? How do you maintain? Many different things you gotta do. You have to diversify. You have to do multiple things to be able to weigh out these times. Is the market bad? Are the rates horrible right now? Yes. Can you succeed by having direct contacts, by having certain relationships in the beginning? Yes. There's always going to be a struggle. You have to hustle. You gotta be nonstop, and you may not see profits in the beginning. What do you got to say about it, babe?
I think I agree with everything that you've said. I think a lot of people go into this industry with the wrong mentality. They still go in with either a scarcity mentality, or they're not innovative, and they don't understand that in order to build in this industry, you have to have a team. Mm-hmm. And when I mean a team, either you hire a team or you hire those people to do certain things within your company. A lot of people here, they're truck drivers, they do their own maintenance, they do their own dispatching, and I'm like, and they do their own compliance. How is that realistic? Like, you're doing 5 different people's jobs, right? You're doing HR, you're doing marketing, you're doing...
That's if you're looking to grow. You can do all of these things and remain in one place. It's more of a chance for you to fail and get burnt out doing all of these things by yourself.
And I think that's a great point, where a lot of people start this, they realize this is too much. They realize they can't be over the road for 1 to 3 weeks at a time because family misses them and they miss family, or the road is not cut out for them. So sometimes when you see a lot of comments where they're different perspective,
don't do it.
Don't
listen.
Don't listen. This was a waste of my time, or you'll get burned out, which it could be true, right? If not, plan accordingly. So I believe if you're planning to get into the industry, definitely have a plan in place.
Yeah, definitely.
That's my thought.
Is it worth it? It can be and it can't be. So
yeah, I mean, what industry can you possibly think that you can jump in with a truck and a trailer and be able to make the numbers that you can make in this industry? Yeah, you're gonna have to hustle. Yeah, you're gonna have to put in the time. There's levels to this, right? But you can't expect that the first 6 months of the first year you're gonna be up here when it's your first year in the industry. You're learning the ins and outs. You're learning how to run the company. You're learning how to implement systems and processes, right? So if you don't come with that elevated mindset already, then be prepared to possibly fail.
Yes. And of course, low overhead, y'all. Right now, if you're thinking about getting into this industry, I would highly recommend getting in if you can get in with a low overhead. Getting in right now, high chance of failing. Very high chance of failing if you're not doing things correctly, if you're not being smart, you're not outsourcing, you're not continuous education.
Proper research. Yeah. Continuing education and research, I think, are the biggest two. Yeah, so the next question, it's kind of related to the first question by Chilango Blog Boss 834. Is there any money in non-CDL drivers in Hotshot or not?
Kind of a similar answer that we previously said. Yes and no. There is a high influx of non-CDL equipment out there. These are the guys, even like when I started, I had a truck, I had a trailer. The market was different, of course, but everyone jumped in, and a lot of people came in not really having a lot of experience, a lot of education, and a lot of, the rates drove down. They're taking certain things, they're not in compliance. So it affects everything on a whole. Is there money non-CDL? Yeah, there's money, but it's not, like I said, it's not money for everyone. Everyone that gets into this non-CDL is not going to see the same thing that someone else might be saying.
And that's the thing. A lot of people go in either social media and compare themselves. Oh, I never made this. Oh, I can't. Or you're trying to make that and you can't. There's a lot of logistics that go into that, the type of equipment. Your home hub, what areas are you running? Do you have a fuel tank? Are you maximizing your hours? Are you taking 3-hour breaks before you make it? Are you partially? There's just so many variables. If you're a good driver, you can potentially make good numbers, but it's not guaranteed.
Yeah, just got to continue to do your research, you guys. Do not get into this though if you aren't willing to put the work in and put the leg work in and thinking, oh, this guy's making $7,000-8,000, I can go do the same thing. You're not knowing what is it taking that person to get that gross? What are they doing? What have they done? Who do they know? You get what I'm saying? So don't think that you can just get in here, get on the low board, and you're gonna be making money. All right, let's get to the next question.
Question by Ninja87 says, I thought Hotshot was for independent drivers. What do you mean you are leased with?
So this goes back to a video, one of my first videos when I first started. We're independent contractors, so to speak, owner operators, right? However, if you have your equipment, but you don't have the funds to either start your own authority or just the experience to start your own business, your own authority, you can take your truck and your trailer and lease it on to another company, run your truck and trailer under that company's numbers, under their authority, and there's a percentage deal that you work out where they take a certain percentage for them putting you under their insurance, them putting you under their authority, and pretty much you operating your equipment under their compliance, restrictions and things like that. So that's what we mean when we say leased on. We're leasing your equipment to another company for you to run under them. Next question is from James Martin. Go ahead and just read that first part there.
Do you have to be 21 to do Hotshot? My son, who is about to turn 18 years old, we're planning on getting a truck and trailer and going and doing Hotshot. But wife has been checking into it, and she thinks he has to be 21 years old.
So as far as what we know and how far we've done our research in this sense, because we didn't have to deal with any of that, we haven't had to. From what we know, as long as you have a driver's license, you can do non-CDL Hotshot. Now, anything beyond that, you'd have to do your own research, whether it's with your state, whether maybe with a company that you're leasing onto. Certain companies have certain policies and procedures that you may have to go by. If you are getting your own authority and you don't have a CDL, I believe it's possible to do it at 18, as long as you have a driver's license.
Right. Only if you have your own, if you're non-CDL. If you're CDL, sometimes you can do it in your own state, but sometimes if you got to cross state lines, depending on the state, some states are still required 21 years old till you get your CDL. I'm not sure. I know some legislation we're changing. I'm not sure because I haven't really kept up to date with it. But I would definitely say do a little bit more research depending on what type of setup you're planning to have.
Yeah.
And if anybody in the comments knows the answer to this, you're more than welcome to drop it down in the comments and elaborate on it, because we don't know it all. You know, we're still learning and we're students of the game forever.
Facts. All right, let's get to the next question. What company do you recommend that does not charge insurance? The reason I added this question to the list was I want, everyone to be aware that there's not really a way around getting into this without paying insurance. Whether you're paying the bobtail insurance for your truck and your trailer, whether you're leasing onto a company, you're still either paying the insurance out of your pocket or it's coming out of your settlement based on the percentage that you guys have worked out. If you're getting into this and starting your own authority, there's no way of going around this. You need commercial insurance, liability, and cargo. What's the next one, man?
This is Gain Maverick 1. Hey, at Macc Media, do you think Hotshot truckers should have gap insurance on their equipment?
Yeah, I think they should. When I got into this, I kept all of that with my coverage when I had it as a personal truck. But think about it, if there's value that you've lost and you get into an accident, you're upside down, that's where gap's going to come in.
That's especially if you're purchasing new equipment and you're financing the equipment.
Yeah, I would also say maybe do a little bit of research on that. Is there certain clause that with doing what you're doing now that might void that from happening? I can't really say. So always fact check, guys, even stuff you hear from us.
Next question goes, it's by Irvin Freeman. Who do you work for and how much do you clear a week?
It looks like that video that you put that question on was an old video. I was leased onto a company at that time. So I kind of worked for myself, but because I was leased onto another company, they had certain, policies where I had to be out for a certain amount of time, and I was leased onto their authority. You're working, like I said, as an independent contractor, but you still have certain things to abide by. What I was clearing for the week at that time, you can check out those videos, man, back then where I talked about what I grossed during a week. Things have changed now. We have our own authority. I don't do a lot of talking about numbers anymore just because I see what it has done to the market or to what people perceive it as. So it's going to vary, it's going to vary by everyone.
Our next question is by somebody called Me.
Counts me.
And it says, do you plan on getting a semi?
So I get this question a lot. That's why I had to put it in the video, y'all. Do we plan on getting a semi? The answer is yes. However, we're not in a rush for it. We do things rather strategically versus doing things to show people that, hey, we did this or we have this. I think when the time is right and when we're ready to scale in that direction is when we do that. We have a lot of other things that we're working on that just logistically and overall kind of makes more sense. There's a huge mindset of trucks are what's making the money. Trucks are just going to make the money. We know that they make money. The liability is high. We just have so much other things that we are working on as well before we jump that route.
I'm with you on that one. I think everyone thinks that owning trucks is essentially what makes you successful in trucking. And I don't think people either research enough the industry or really understand that truckers are the bottom feeders. And when I mean bottom feeders, your freight goes through so many hands before it ends up on your truck. And by the time you get it on your truck, we're getting paid scraps.
Yeah.
Right? So what we're trying to do is really understand the whole logistics as a whole, essentially global logistics, where we can really understand the process of logistics and not be bottom feeders. And what I mean by that is being able to have really good processes and systems to be able to create and create longevity relationships with shippers. So we're able to supply them with the proper trucks, whether it's our trucks or extended trucks with a feature brokerage.
And
so
think about it. What sense does it make to rush and get trucks and not have the freight, for the trucks? All right, next question.
I'm going to read it. You're going to read it.
It doesn't matter. I'll read it real quick. Another one from James Martin, and I chose this one because it's about trucks. Is it possible, you think, to start with an older truck without a truck payment? Yes, it's possible. However, you got to do some extensive back history on that truck. You're not really going to know how that truck ran. Ideally, it's great for a low overhead, but depending on how old you're going, are you going to have warranty? Like I said, how has that truck been treated? What were they doing with the truck? You're not sure what that truck's going to come with. Are there people out there using older trucks? yeah.
I will say you will have to be mechanically inclined to foresee any future or random expenses that will come up. And not saying that with a new truck, it's not gonna happen. However, let's say if it's anything transmission, motor related or something not of that matter, where it's gonna cost you a couple of $1,000s to fix it, make sure you do have the capital to foresee those situations.
New trucks these days too, man. New trucks are coming off of the lot, 1,000 miles, 2,000, 3,000 miles, and they're breaking down. Transmissions, whatever the case is. So it's all a risk, man. It's all a risk when it comes to the equipment. But just be cautious, know what you're getting, make sure you have the correct coverages and things that's gonna take care of you. And like you know, she said, the capital, having that capital.
Another thing, touching on the used trucks, you can also look into some companies that offer extended warranties that you can pay a monthly fee, especially with the kind of miles that we're putting in these trucks. I definitely recommend having some type of extended warranty that will protect you in the event that your truck is down and you don't have to come up with that full amount to get that truck back on the road.
All right, what we got next?
Big Papa goes, why would you have to do a reset if you are doing non-CDL? Great question.
Because you're still a commercial vehicle. People have the misconception that non-CDL, because you don't have a CDL, you're not a commercial vehicle. You still have to go by what these what you got your trucking company, so you still have to abide to all those rules. Logs, doing your resets, just all of that.
But it's all part of the federal regulations, making sure that you are following the hours of service. And then it comes down to preventing of driver fatigue, decrease, accidents and things like that. So if you're a commercial driver, you have to obey by the federal regulations.
Unfortunately.
Next question, 914 New York for Life says, enjoy the video and thank you for the breakdown. How do you get into the business?
So, man, that's a question that I brought up here because I just want to say it's hard to answer that question in a comment section. There are a lot of ways and there are a lot of things to do to get into the industry. Briefly, you can get into this industry either leasing onto a company or starting your own authority. There's a ton of forms, documentation that is still required for both. You need your medical card. You need, of course, your equipment. I would say you need some type of team. You need to know the compliance and logistics and just business startup behind all of it. Not something I can just answer and say, how do you get in? It's easy to say you get in with a truck and a trailer and you figure out which way you want to go. You can get in that way, but there's a little bit more to it. I would suggest if it's not with us, but with someone that has the knowledge, that has done it, book a consultation, pay for that information and learn the things you need versus just taking, that risk on your investment and not knowing, you know what I'm saying? If you're watching this video, man, we do consultations. We're going to get into mentorship. Book a discovery call, 50-minute free discovery call. We can talk to you and see what direction you're looking to go and to get you in the right direction. Ken Glover says, what kind of logs do you use? What's your broker's site? What online tools is it I need? Help, I'm a young black entrepreneur, man. My grandfather got me into transportation, but I don't want to do big rig. Going back to that whole thing, big rig, Hotshot, you still got to think of it as you're still getting into the trucking industry, you're still getting into a trucking business. So there's all the logistics and all those things still line up. We use Motive. It's an electronic logging device where we log our hours of service. We're using load boards, Truck Stop, DAT. There's other load boards that we use as well, but those are our tops. And then we have a few contacts, a few relationships where we're able to get the loads. More research, book a consultation, guys, if we need to get any deeper. We can't really get too deep into those type of questions.
Next question by Alberto Laitano goes, hey, I'm getting into the company you released on. I want to find out your experience with them.
Okay, good question. And I've got that question a lot as well. My experience with that company was great. I'm sure you guys can see based on the videos I've done in the past. However, I always say this, man. I was leased onto them a couple of years ago from when I left. I can't tell you what has changed. I can't tell you what things are like now. I can't tell. Everyone's experience is going to be based on how they're able to deal with people. What are their relationship skills like? I can go into a same company with my wife and she's going to have a different experience than me. Hers yours might be negative, mine might be positive. It's hard to say, but for me, I had a good experience with them.
I was just gonna say we're grateful because using them, we were able to pave the way to be able to build our own company, do our own thing. If you are leased on and you start leased on to a good company that has good policies and procedures, that is legit, that is not scamming their drivers or their owner operators, I think it's able to teach you good systems for you to be able to transition to your own. I always say you model the behaviors you follow, right? So because of the experience that Tim had, we were able to continue and start our own journey.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
A lot of things happen, man, and how you handle certain situations and how you deal with people and how you respond to certain things that's gonna be a part of your experience. That's gonna either put a bad taste in your mouth. So if you want respect, just give that respect even when things go sideways. Of course, there's gonna be times if something's blatant and you're not with it, I get it. But if you're looking to grow, if you're looking to learn, if you're looking to, you gotta use your contacts. You can't burn bridges, in something like this.
That's important. Next question. Bad red life, no life. I got a question. Are you intrastate or interstate?
You can answer it.
Okay. So first of all, let's talk about what intrastate and interstate is. For those of you that don't know what intrastate is, meaning staying within your own state. Interstate meaning crossing state lines. We are interstate meaning we cross from Texas to Louisiana to Oklahoma.
We're over the road.
We're over the road. Once we cross that state line, it's considered interstate. So that's what we do.
And it's important you know those things, because if you're filing for your authority and you're answering certain questions or your insurance, whatever it is, you're gonna want to know what to answer.
Next question. Tony A goes, do you recommend starting out in Hotshot trucking with a 250 2500 series starting out as a new business? I guess not CDL.
Do I recommend it? I'd recommend it if you're considering going the non-CDL route and you have no plans on getting a CDL, which I kind of recommend you just get. If you're getting into this, just get your CDL. However, if you're that person that says, no, I'm not doing that, I have no interest in getting my CDL, get a truck that's going to keep the weight down. To me, that's going to be a 3/4 ton truck, or you can get a 3500 with single rear wheel. But the whole idea of that is to keep your weight down so you can still maximize on the freight that you can put on the trailer. And a lot of that goes into understanding the number, the GVWR, the combined GVWR, your empty weights and all that stuff. So, all right, y'all, we got about 2 more questions. You can see the sun coming down, shining on you, babe.
Oh yeah, mine.
All right, y'all. So this is not really necessarily a question, but I brought it up here. A guy, Mike McStove, left this. He says, fellas, don't listen to anyone but yourself and your bookings. Not everyone makes the same. This is a rare thing to make gross $7K. I sold my Hotshot because it's so much unexplained bullshit, such as tolls, high gas prices, high insurance, truck payment, maintenance. So even if you make, let's say, you make $2,500 a week, at the end of the Friday, you made $700, maybe less. It's not worth it. A lot of people on social media or just in general like to place their failures on others. Saying don't listen to anyone but yourself is kind of like a bad way to look at things, because then how do you get answers? Why do you ask questions? Why do you do research? 7K gross is it's not rare.
But you have to put in the work.
You have to put in the work. Now, what works for you may not work for someone else. So, yeah, I kind of agree with him, but I also disagree to say that, he sold his Hotshot because it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it for him. It didn't work for him, and it's not for everybody. He's saying a lot of things aren't explained. A lot of things is not going to be handed out to you and just explained to you like that. You have to dig, you have to find the information. You may have to pay for access to certain information. If you're not doing that, then, things like that are going to happen where, you weren't sure about tolls. How you got into this if you didn't know about tolls? How you got into this not knowing about insurance and that it may go higher based on certain things? How are you not aware of these things? So if you guys don't pay attention to that and do your research, then yeah, it's going to be difficult. Yeah, you're going to find yourself falling back out of it.
I think
And
the
it's just
word
like anything.
for the day is do your due diligence.
I mean, we've been saying that from day one.
Research as much as you can. Don't just watch a video and be like, I'm gonna jump in tomorrow, get a truck and trailer, make $7,000.
You can't base it off of a 10 minute, 15 minute video.
Like,
paying attention to what's going on in the economy, what's going on with, supply and demand, what's going on with, shippers, customers, brokers. You gotta pay attention to all of that if you are and thankfully I have a team, where I'm on the road. I focus on things on the road. She might be able to focus on, let's see what the market is doing in this area. What might have worked last week may not work this week.
Yeah,
so
the market is constantly changing. It's so volatile. And that's like any market, any business that you're in, you have to keep up to date with what the market is doing and really understand, in this case, how freight is moving. Why is the freight changing? The freight rates are changing.Hy are brokers doing what they're doing? We actually run a freight dispatching side of things. So if you guys need any dispatching services, go to our website, www.macc.logistics, and fill out an inquiry form. Somebody from the team will reach out to you.
All right, guys, let's jump into the last question of this video. And this is going to come from @LaonIsPrags3429. He goes, he or her goes, I got a question for Mac. What forms do I actually need to start? I have DOT, MC, EIN, Progressive, ELD. Are there any of the forms I need? Thanks. Unfortunately, I just can't list the everything that you need in the comments, like I said before, guys. Unfortunately, it depends. It depends on how you're structuring your business. There are more forms. The BOC3.
I mean, it just depends to, are you CDL, non-CDL? What states are you traveling through? Where some of them do require, if you are a CDL holder or a commercial vehicle with a portion plate, certain states do require certain permits and stuff like that. But if you want a more specific answer, I would definitely suggest you go to our website. We have a ton of resources at www.Macc Transport and Logistics, or book a consultation. Some things are just better explained one-on-one. Watch a ton of videos. YouTube has a ton of resources that do focus on that part of things, on the required documents that you need. But just like anything, you're gonna have to put in the work and understand what you're doing, especially because this is your operations and your company.
And I'll leave y'all with this, man. We are offering consultations. We have a ton of resources on our website. We are adding a ton of free resources, a ton of free downloads. You guys have asked me about my spreadsheets for the longest. That should be up on there soon. We got checklists for maintenance, trailer maintenance, equipment lists, and more things that we're just adding over time. Sign up, make sure you're a part of the newsletter, so when we send out updates and what's coming up, you guys are aware of it. Whether it's events, we getting into a lot of that in the future. Definitely check out our website, man. MaccTransportAndLogistics.com. Ton of resources. And like I said, guys, if there's anything we can do to help, of course, our time is very valuable, so we do put a price on things. I've given out a ton of information.
For the past literally almost 3 years, we've given out free games. We've gotten on the phone with numerous people, help a ton of people, but just as soon as they come in, they leave because this is not for them. Right. And we've come to understand and value our time. As we're growing, we have less time. So being able to really set a proper time aside to be able to help somebody and focus and not be like, oh, well, maybe today or maybe tomorrow. No, we're setting a proper time for whatever it is that we're doing that's business related, so that way we can also have a life and be able to not get burnt out, because it happens. We've gotten burnt out numerous amount of times because we're trying to do more than we can, whether it's answering emails, whether it's answering DMs, answering comments on YouTube. There is a lot of aspects within multiple businesses that we have, plus social media, that we just can't manage it, or we don't have the access. It's just two of us when it comes to managing our interpersonal relationships, because we try to make the relationship, we're not having a bot or just a random person answering the DMs or the emails. We're the ones actually answering those DMs and emails, and it takes time. So if we haven't gotten back to you, or Tim hasn't gotten back to you in a lot on a DM or an email, we apologize, but we have to put priority to what's important immediately. So with that being said, if you need immediate assistance, book a consult.
Book a consultation, y'all. With that being said, man, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys want to see more videos like this, let us know in the comments. Don't forget to check out all the links I have listed in the description, guys. If you guys are looking for a trailer, if you guys are looking for a factoring company, load boards, we have stuff where you get 30 days free. Just a ton of resources in there. People that we've worked with, people that we've built relationships and that we trust. So go down in the description, look over the links, and let it help you get started, or maximize even where you're at if you need to adjust and change things.
I think one of the main reasons for these links is because when we first started, it took me hours to research the best factoring company, the best fuel cards. There's so many companies out there, right? And then once you put in those numbers and you give your number to the FMCSA, you're gonna get 1,000 calls. You wanna make sure that who you're working with is legit, that it has potential for growth, and that they're innovative with their systems. I've done that research for you. Everything that we have, not only in our websites, all of our partners on our website and on our links that we have on the description are people that have been verified and people that we work very closely with. So I'm not just gonna put just a random, it's people that are actually doing big things in the industry and that actually care about the carriers. Yeah. And that's what's important for me.
All right, y'all, with that being said, we are going to wrap it up and have some hour time. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Like I said, let me know if you guys appreciated this video in the comments. If you guys have other suggestions about anything we talked about, leave it in the comments, and let's continue to help each other out. Let's continue to focus on turning this market around. And it's a dog eat dog industry, but I think a lot of the problem that we have is we're at the bottom of the barrel and we're continuing to fight each other, which makes no sense. So how the hell are we going to work together and go against the ones that's taken away from us? It's just only going to keep us down. So we've been focusing on that and working with certain people to see how we can elevate things in that sense. So stay tuned for that. We're out of here. Bye. See you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Macc Media TV. We out.
And follow us on Instagram, because you guys get the late news on YouTube. On Instagram, we're like active,
we live
day to day. You see everything that's going on, everything that we've launched. You see it firsthand on Instagram. So Tim, please put the link for both of us so people can just kind of tag us and then just tap in into what we got going on the other side. So
all right, y'all. I'm in here long enough with y'all. I'm out.
You got a leg cramp?
Yeah, I got a cramp. Let's get out. Peace.